चितं शत्रु वृकायुधाभुजं हृदे घटमानं यथा शक्ति तव प्राणजिहीर्षया. Anybody else? Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Vrikrasura is saying this: O my enemy, just look at me. I have already been defeated, for my weapon and arm have been cut to pieces. You have already overwhelmed me, but nonetheless, with a desire to kill you, I am trying my best to fight. I am not at all morose, even under such adverse conditions. Therefore, you should give up your moroseness and continue fighting. Purport: Vritrasura was so great and powerful that in effect he was acting as the spiritual master of Indra. Although Vritrasura was on the verge of defeat, he was not at all affected. He knew that he was going to be defeated by Indra, and he voluntarily accepted that. But since he was supposed to be Indra's enemy, he tried his best to kill Indra. Thus he performed his duty. One should perform his duty under all circumstances, even though one may know what the result will be. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsam Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachan pangum langete girim Yatkripātamaham vande Shri Gurum Dentarinam Paramanandam Madhum Shri Chaitanameshwar. So reading the translation again. O my enemy, just look at me. I've already been defeated, for my weapon and arm have been cut to pieces. You have already overwhelmed me, but nonetheless, with a desire to kill you, I am trying my best to fight. I am not at all morose, even under such adverse conditions. Therefore, you should give up your moroseness and continue fighting. Hare Krishna. So here we see Vritrasura's attitude, that how he is encouraging Indra. It's in one sense very funny. It's like Srimad Bhagavatam just in general uh, flips everything on its head. Like in the world, usually the hierarchy is that someone who is a demon, uh, demigod is better than a demon. And there is all these established hierarchies in terms of somebody who's a renunciant is externally supposed to be better spiritually than someone who's a householder, or or like even in general, it is considered like someone who is fighting against the Lord is considered very demoniac, very fallen. Bhagavatam shifts all these things on its head. Like in the Bhagavad, here we see in this pastime, the demigod Indra is receiving lessons from the demon Vritrasura. When bhakti enters the picture, all hierarchy goes for a toss. Everything else in the world, the established hierarchy, does not hold anymore. There is no meaning. When bhakti comes into picture, the hierarchy changes based on bhakti, based on the what do you call? Uh, Based on one's consciousness, based on bhakti. So everything changes. And we see in the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj, yes, Asa is a renunciant. However, Ambarish Maharaj is a great devotee. So the Durvasa Muni assumes that I'm a renunciant, I'm a sannyasi. It is my duty as the leader of the society to actually correct the king. If you imagine, like, who will correct the king in the Vedic society? He is so powerful. There is nobody else who will be able to correct the king because the ministers they can revolt, but still there is a limit. The king, if he wants, he can eliminate them. The praja, the what do you call the citizens may actually express their displeasure. However, still they are also powerless. It is the sannyasis who are considered more powerful than the king that they can come in and teach. So Durvasa Muni was in his usual consciousness that I am actually coming in as a sannyasi, and here he sees the king has done a Maryada Vyatikram, means he has disobeyed the orders of the rules of respect. So I'm here to teach him. So he forgot that here the hierarchy is different. Here somebody is Bhakti Adhikar is very high. So my Sannyas Adhikar is subservient to that Bhakti Adhikar. So he, without that understanding, he just overstepped and overreacted, and it completely blew on his face eventually. And Bhagavatam actually proves, okay, here the hierarchy is devotional. So you are like that's what is being proved through Bhagavatam. Okay, you may go all over the three worlds, but eventually you have to come and fall at the feet of Ambarish and beg forgiveness. And when he forgives, everything is going to be okay. And similarly, we see in the Bhagavatam, the other places also, it flips the hierarchy. Someone who fights against the Supreme Lord is considered usually demoniac. But here he is the greatest devotee. Like, can you think of what is the example? Prahlad is not fighting against the Supreme Lord in that sense. Anybody else? Yes, Bhishma Dev. Right in the Canto 1, Bhagavatam actually flips that thing, flips the hierarchy. Okay, in the world, like in by reading Mahabharata, a lot of people may have various understandings of who's Bhishma Dev. They may think, oh, he, like even it's said in the Mahabharata that Draupadi actually asks Bhishma Dev, like, he begs forgiveness. Please forgive me that I did not protect you on the day of you being disrobed. She says, then why? You know everything. So then why you didn't do? So he says, no, I was eating the salt of Duryodhan. So my consciousness was contaminated. We say, right? Uh, we say karmi grains, we say. So by eating grains that is kind of received from, so then that consciousness also comes. So he says, I was contaminated with the salt that I was eating from Duryodhana. And Draupadi says, what has changed now? He says, now all that blood which was nourished by Duryodhana's food is all drained by the arrows now. All the blood has gone away. So now my consciousness has come back now. So all that bad blood from my body has been removed by Krishna. So now I have come to consciousness. It's not his like. So usually it's very difficult to understand a great devotee. They say it takes one to know one. So similarly, a lot of people reading Mahabharata, may never understand the glory of Bhishma Dev completely. But Bhagavatam begins where Mahabharata ends. And that is why it starts with the story of wherever the war ended in Mahabharata and Bhagavatam after the war, immediately post war, whatever happened, that's where Bhagavatam begins. And that is why it sets the record straight. Okay, many people may misunderstand Bhishmadev. So that's why Krishna dedicates a whole chapter just what in his heart. He starts praying, he says so many things, but eventually he goes even prays about Vrindavan also. He prays that, okay, you are the Lord of the Gopis. So he has that all that consciousness, but it is not usually uh, understood clearly because he was externally fighting against the Supreme Lord. So people may think, and the other person, Bali Maharaj, also externally in one case was antagonistic, but immediately that because when the bhakti enters, then everything else is changed. So he has become a great devotee. So similarly here we see Vritrasu, he is supposed to be a demon. Indra, who's supposed to be the demigod, the king of demigods. So ideally, he is considered a spiritual teacher for the demons in his own right. Not exactly though. But here we see it's not just he is better. Vritrasura as a demon is better than Indra. He is even acting as a spiritual master. That Srila Prabhupada says Vritrasura was so great and powerful that in effect he was acting as the spiritual master of Indra. Whatever Arjuna was going through in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and Krishna was giving him lessons, Vritrasura is giving in a much more effective way, to be honest, because he is personally acting and showing. Krishna was only giving knowledge, but here Vritrasura is personally saying, "I, excuse me." He says his weapon was cut into pieces, and then his arms are also cut. Still, he is fighting, and there is a whole weapon that Indra has that was created by the blessings of Narayan specifically to kill Vritrasura. Like there, he need not have any doubt because that weapon was created, was destined to actually end the Vritrasura. And he has that weapon. Still, he is just like losing the faith. He's saying, why are you losing faith? You see how much I'm giving my best in this circumstance. My arms are cut off. My weapon is gone. Still, I'm like trying, I'm terrifying you. And you have your weapon. And why don't you have faith in the Lord? So that's what he is literally saying. Like, why don't you have faith in the Lord? Like, you see my situation. So it's a even more effective way of teaching someone. Krishna was only giving instructions. And he is ultimately the Supreme Lord. He can make anything happen. So it does not, it's still like, okay, you're Supreme Lord. You can say whatever you want. You don't know what I have to go through in my position. So that's why here when Vritrasur teaches, it is much more effective because he is literally living that. Excuse me. So that's what we see the consciousness of Vritrasur. That he is saying that when we have the consciousness of devotion to Krishna, excuse me, then there is nothing to be discouraged. Yeah, there is all positivity that comes in. Here, if we read Prabhupada's purport, it's so amazing that he's saying, although Vritrasur was on the verge of defeat, he was not at all affected because he understands what is the defeat. In the Vedic literatures, if you see, Indra is always glorified as Vritrahari. If you read Vedic portions, the Karma Kanda portions, where Indra is being offered yagya, one of his names will be with Vritrahari, the enemy of Vritra. And also he will be addressed as one who killed Vritra. In the Vedic Karma Kanda portion, they are glorifying Indra as the enemy of Vritra and one who killed Vritra. You see pages of Bhagavatam, Indra does not have any glory here on the pages of the Bhagavatam. He's like, okay, you don't even have enough confidence on the Supreme Lord. Why don't you fight? So Vritra is actually addressing, Vritrasura is actually giving knowledge to Indra. So that is the difference between Srimad Bhagavatam and the other Vedic literatures. Externally, a lot of things may come in this world. Oh, this person is great, this person did that, this person did this. But what actually matters is what Vritrasura is showing, like how much devotion we have. That's all it matters. Because although Vritrasur was on the verge of defeat, he was not at all affected. What is that defeat? It was on a very bodily level. Vritrasur was clearly understanding that this body, he's eager to give the body up because it's a demoniac body. It's he has full consciousness of he has already achieved perfection in the previous life as Chitraketu Maharaj personally received audience of Anantadev, received Srimad Bhagavatam and teachings, and he had completely evolved consciousness. And here Krishna is using him as a example that how when one has bhakti, that consciousness is never lost. This canto is also called as the sixth canto. It's not the on. There are many ways to look at it. Out of the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, Poshanam is one topic. It is said the sixth canto predominantly discusses Poshanam, but it's not that this is the only canto which teaches Poshanam. That means protection of the Supreme Lord, special protection of the Supreme Lord for his devotees. Because the fifth topic is Sthanam, means Krishna gives position for everyone in this material universe according to the desires they have. He creates situations, heavenly planets, hellish planets, earthly planets, all kinds of different situations he creates according to the desires that individual living entities have, the way they want to enjoy this world. Accordingly, he creates lot of situations. And his sthanam is also maintenance. He maintains them. So there is one thing called as maintaining, but there is another thing called as protection. So this portionam is nourishing. So he not just nourishes their physical existence, but he also nourishes the spiritual consciousness of a devotee. So this Canto 6 speaks about portionam, which is spiritual nourishment of the Lord that the Lord offers to his devotees. So that's why we see here how he protects, how he protected in the beginning of the Canto 6. We all have seen this pastime of Ajamil. So he rendered some devotional service, and that consciousness protected him. And even unknowingly, he called out for Narayan. So the Supreme Lord offered his protection. So within this life, even at the last moment, there is no, basically the point that we are trying to understand is that how there is no reason for losing hope in devotional service. So for Ajamil, at the fag end of his life, everything changed. That Krishna can protect even at that time of death, which is very crucial. And again, we see that how the consciousness carries forward. See the pastime of Daksha also in the Canto 6. So previous life, he had a antagonistic tendency. So it carried forward in this life also, in his next life also. And again, we see here, Vritrasura is the other example. He had a very, very uh, advanced devotional consciousness. But there was some kind of little bit of, for our understanding, there was a little bit of a pride. So Krishna thought, okay, let me deal with that in a way that can actually set example for the rest of the world, speaking the glories of devotion. So he was cursed. So externally, it feels like I did so much devotion. I imagine like it's not that few years of devotional service. He achieved perfection. He directly had the audience of Ananta there. And if we have to see life like that, we'll feel very discouraged actually. 'Cause, like I already had all these devotional experiences. How in the world I can could be uh, cursed? So our understanding is like everything goes only linear in life. But here it was like he directly had the audience of Ananta there. And then he is cursed to become a demon. Like it's It's like a complete opposite of our understanding of devotional service. We want everything to be linear. Okay, I have come this far. Externally, no miseries will come to me, or no negative situations might affect my life. But it's up to Krishna. He may actually externally push us down, externally, but internally, that is the way maybe he is like lifting us up, because he knows as a perfect doctor what is that thing in our heart which is stopping us from coming closer to him completely. So he saw in the case of Chitraketu Maharaj. So we see in the next life, even though he assumed a body of a demon, he retained the consciousness of whatever he had achieved. That did not get lost. So the spiritual protection is not always external physical protection. Sorry, devotional protection is not always an external physical protection. What Krishna says when he says, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. So, Arjuna, declare boldly that my devotees will never perish. So, the understanding is the body will any time, anyway perish, today or tomorrow. Anybody who has come in this world. So, yes, Krishna can protect the physical manifestation, also the physical body also. We do see that experience examples in the Shastra, that Haridas Thakur was being beaten. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu covered himself, put himself in between, and he took all that beatings. Or in so many other situations, he actually saves the devotees. However, it's not always the case, because as a devotee, our job is only, or right, is only taking shelter of Krishna. How he will protect is not our job to decide. It is Krishna's portfolio to decide how he will protect us. Protection is guaranteed, but it may not always fit in our box. Abhimanyu was there. Krishna said, O Arjuna, declare boldly, my devotee will never perish. But his own son Abhimanyu was killed. And we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Uttara runs towards the Krishna when Parikshit Maharaj is being like affected by the Brahmastra weapon. Uttara did not think, this Krishna did not protect my husband. I was I was just a pregnant young lady, and he is the supreme lord. He was right there in that battlefield. He could have protected my husband. He's the only heir of the whole Pandava dynasty, the most uh, like promising candidate for taking over the throne after the Pandavas. So you are waging such a huge war to establish dharma in the world, and you does not protect the person who can actually take the torch ahead and take that. Imagine, like, if Abhimanyu was there, he could have ruled for another 50 years. And then Parikshit could have ruled for another 50 years. Like, there could have been a much more stronger legacy that the Pandavas could have left. Uttara did not think, what, what is this crazy? Like, how can he not protect my husband? She did not lose confidence. The first person they could immediately think of when there was a problem was Krishna. Krishna, Krishna Mahabaho. So immediately she's going and offering prayers. That is why hers is the first prayer in Srimad Bhagavatam. Because that confidence. She did not worry, or she did not have any doubt that, "Wow, Krishna did not protect my husband. Who knows if he is going to protect my son?" No. Our job as a duty, our duty as a devotee is to taking shelter of Krishna. And Krishna will always protect. Externally, sometimes it can be very different. Like for Abhimanyu, it was very different. But Parikshit, for it was very different. For Parikshit, when he was about to take birth, Krishna personally went into the womb of Mother no, Uttara and protected him. But when the Brahman's curse came, Krishna did not protect. It's not that Krishna came and chopped the Takshaka's wings when he was coming in or something like that. No, it just like for Ambarish, the Sudarshan immediately manifested and cut the demon. And that is why it is said, like when Parikshit Maharaj was being narrated that story, when this whole story was narrated, he became very curious. Please tell me, like, how did that Brahma Shapa did not work on Ambarish? Because he is actually going through a Brahma Shapa, a Brahmana's curse. And he could have counteracted, but still he did not. He is taking it upon himself and fasting. But he's just curious. Like, did Ambarish actually do something to counteract? Like, how did that happen? Because here Parikshit is just accepting it and undergoing the fasting to die. But in the case of Ambarish, he was protected. How did that happen? Did he do anything to counteract? So he may think after hearing the pastime, how how partial this Krishna is. There, Ambarish did not even want to be protected, and he was protected from the Brahmashapa of Durvasa. And why the hell he would not protect me? Parikshit is not thinking like that. So it is the nature of a devotee to accept whatever Krishna has ordained for me as a as the best thing for me. Krishna knows he has my best interest. That confidence is a hallmark of a devotee, and that's what the pages of the Bhagavatam, page after page, Bhagavatam is telling us. Okay, if you think you are a devotee, this is the qualification of a devotee. This is the hallmark of a devotee, that anything may come externally to the body, to the mind, to the physical existence, to the reputation. Anything can happen to anybody. We don't need to judge others, and we don't need to, if something happens, which in our calculation, if that is not the most linear path of spiritual growth and what do you call greatness that we assume for ourselves, if that does not match our graph, we don't need to be actually disturbed, because we are under protection of Krishna. That much we should make sure. But how he will protect us can be very different. He's a perfect doctor. He knows what is our problem. And accordingly, a pill will come. It can be very different. Another person may get a yellow color pill, another person may get a white color pill, I may get a red color pill. So it's very different. I cannot say why a different pill for him. It's my disease is unique. We are all very unique in that sense. We have a unique diseases. That's pretty much our uniqueness is pretty much there on a material level. Yes, rasa level there is another level of uniqueness, but on the physical material level, we all have our own unique diseases, and Krishna will uh, create proper treatment plan for that. And here we see Vritrasura completely accepting it. He knew that he was going to be defeated by Indra, and he voluntarily accepted that. But since he was supposed to be Indra's enemy, he tried his best to kill Indra. Like, we speak of being sportive. I can't think of a better example than being like having a sportive tendency than Vritrasu. He knows he's going to lose it, he's going to die, and he's thinking, okay, what's my role here? I have to play Indra's enemy. Let me play it to my best. Indra should be so terrified that he should develop a like kind of a doubt in the ability of the weapon. To that extent, he was fighting that Indra is like, this weapon is supposed to kill this guy. Like, why it's not working? Like, how is he having more confidence and he is having such enthusiasm? So, seeing the opposite person's enthusiasm, Indra's enthusiasm was like kind of affected. So, he was really being very sportive. And thus, he performed his duty. So, Krishna may give so many lectures about perform your duty. But here, Vritrasura is actually living it. One should perform his duty under all circumstances, even though one may know what the result will be. So that's another thing. So it's bhakti includes all the levels of consciousness in the yoga matrix. Like, we have this yoga ladder where there is nishkama karma yoga, there is jnana yoga, there is ashtanga yoga. So it's a evolution of consciousness. But when we take to the process of bhakti, it's not that we had to have gone through all those levels to come to bhakti. If we take to bhakti, even if our consciousness is very much on the low, just by the practice of bhakti, our consciousness will gradually rise above. So that's why here he's saying, when a perfect devotee has proper Krishna consciousness, it is includes nishkama karma is already there, because they are so attached to Krishna. All their efforts are to please Krishna, so they are fully dedicating their activities. So all those consciousness is fully there. So here Vitrasura is setting that example of how a devotee is completely detached and determined, and accepts also whatever is is being ordained by Krishna, I accept it. So that is being seen here in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam by the glorious example of Vritrasura. And this also shows that how bhakti is apratihata. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yatho bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihata ye atma suprasidati. Apratihata means nothing can stop the flow of devotional consciousness. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam gives so many different examples. Okay, bhakti can be practiced at any time, by anyone, under any circumstance. Bhakti can be practiced by Prahlad Maharaj in the womb, Dhruv Maharaj as a young boy, Ajamila at the fag end of his life, Avadut Brahman at the fag end of his life. As long as there is determination, the physical bodily age or situation does not matter. Like it can be practiced by women, because in the traditional society they did not go to Gurukula like men did, because the society was organized in a certain way that this teaching was not like today is an industrial economy. So then physically anyone can do anything to some extent because it's all organized. You press a switch, something works. But by nature, different bodies have different physical abilities. So accordingly, the rules, the duties were divided in the Vedic tradition because there was no question of electricity. Just remove the electricity from picture of today's world, and everybody naturally will go there. There will always be exceptions. In India also there were queens who fought wars, who ruled the kingdom. It was not that they did not go into the battlefield. It's not that they're sitting in their oval office and pressing buttons. No, they literally went into the battlefield and fought and won wars. And though they were women, so it is not that exceptions were not there. Exceptions were always there. But in general, overall, the duties were assigned accordingly. And Bhagavatam again proves that thing also. Right in the Canto 1, okay, you think knowledge is had by great saints and other things? No. First prayer, Uttara. Second prayer, Kunti Maharani. Fourth prayer, the queens of Dwarka, Hastinapur. And then the queens of Dwarka. They are the ones who maximum offering. All kinds of essence of Vedic literature is offered in those prayers. So Bhagavatam is proving knowledge is a concomitant factor of devotion. When there is devotion, knowledge and detachment will naturally come. It does not matter what was the external educational situation, because real knowledge is the ability to discern matter from spirit. So that ability, that detachment comes naturally by the practice of bhakti. So, apratihata, we were discussing how in this situation, Vritrasura is not discouraged. So bhakti is, it does not matter in terms of physical age or gender, or even in terms of species. Okay, demon, demigod, or nothing. They are also a demon like Vritrasur, Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj. All of them are born in demonic family, but again still can practice devotional service. Yeah, no time, no place, heavenly planets. Chitraketu Maharaj practiced, and in hellish planets like Bali Maharaj is in Saturnian planets, and so each and every we see from on the 14 planetary system, all situations there is practice of bhakti, be it hell or heaven, or in between, or in Brahmaloka. Everywhere there is examples of devotional service. There is no stopping which place you can practice. You can always practice at all spaces. So in this way, bhakti can be practiced at all times, in all circumstances, in all. So we see dire circumstances. Vritrasura is having a dire circumstances of his arms being cut off. His like physical existence is being threatened. Uttara, her the child in her womb is being targeted, and intense anxiety to experience so much difficulties by Kunti. Bhishma Dev in the war field, fighting at any time can be killed, where he is offering prayers. And then Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj's pastime is amazing. He's when the demon is being created by Durvasa and the demon is coming towards him, he does not flinch. He folds his hands and offers his prayers. He's not offering prayers, Krishna, please protect me. Whatever you wish. That was not even his prayer. Okay. The demon is coming, please kill the demon, protect me. No, he's like, I remember Krishna and the rest isn't. And Krishna had already, by being so pleased with the devotion of Ambarish Maharaj, Krishna had given a, what do you call it? S security. We all have Z plus security and A plus security, all that. He had offered him a Sudarshan Chakra security. He actually gifted Sudarshan Chakra to him. Here is my Sudarshan Chakra. You keep it with you. So it was already offered to thing. Durvasa had no idea about his special security arrangements. He just thought, okay, this demon, and the demon, like it's like having a sensor. So Sudarshan Chakra thought, okay, demon detected from 10 feet ahead. So the moment he came close, he just immediately just burned into ashes. It was a fiery demon. So when there is when you burn things using fire, there can be ash. But when you just extinguish fire, there is nothing left. There is no trace left. So it was a fiery demon. So when it was extinguished by Sudarshan Chakra, there was no trace left of him. Like if something else can burn and leave some trace, but he was like you have a candle, you blow the candle, there's no trace left of the fire. It's gone. So Durvasa is like, okay, where is the demon like that I created? Like no trace. It's a fiery demon, like gone, like completely. What do you call in Hindi? They will say "बुझ गया." मतलब ऐसे like kind of put off completely, is like blown off, like gone. So with bhakti, the consciousness of Ambarish Maharaj was like he wasn't worrying about that. It was a very dire circumstance. So we see like that in Bhagavatam actually proves that bhakti is apratihata. It can be practiced at all circumstances, and that is the very reason that Bhagavatam picks up very extreme conditions. Why Bhagavatam shows us like they have the ability to practice even in this circumstance. Bhakti is possible even in this circumstance. So that why it shows through Maharaj, extreme. Prahlad Maharaj, extreme. It is said when he was being given poison, so it does not work on him. So the demons who were sent to kill Prahlad Maharaj, they are like wondering, oh, why won't you die? Like we're trying our best. Like why would you not die? So they go, we just gave you poison. Like how it did not work? He says, like poison is my uncle. Poison is your uncle. Like, how is it possible? Like, poison is your uncle. No, poison is my uncle because my father is Vishnu, my mother is Lakshmi, and Lakshmi came from the milk ocean. Poison also came from the same milk ocean. So they are brother and sister. Lakshmi is also came from milk ocean, so she is daughter. Poison also came from milk ocean, so he brother. So brother and sister. So my mother's brother is my uncle. So he's my uncle. So why will he affect me? So they are like so confused. Okay. So then whatever we'll put in the fire. So nothing happens. Okay. Well, why fire is not affecting you? Because it's my father's tongue, because Vishnu accepts all the offerings through fire. So fire is considered the tongue of his. So his vision of seeing the world was everything is related to Krishna. Krishna is my father. Everything is related to Krishna. So nothing was affecting him. So the demons had to go and tell like it's just not possible to kill this guy. Like we don't know what to do. So they had to eventually Shanda and Amarka had to come in and say, okay, don't worry, he's a small child. We will teach him. He will become better. So the consciousness of a devotee, the more one is Krishna conscious and absorbed, and the more we actually read these examples and develop faith, it is natural that all of us will go through the dark night of the soul individually in our own ways. However, we all need to know the best thing or the only thing that can actually help us pass through that stage of having a dark night is actually our faith in Krishna, our faith in our Guru and Srila Prabhupada, that they really love us. And there is nothing in this world that can actually take away their love for us. However, how we behave is not the criteria. So that love is unconditional from Krishna's side. That can never be actually taken away. So a lot of times when we struggle, we wonder, okay, Krishna doesn't care for me, and I'm not qualified enough to practice bhakti. I'm so fallen, nothing can actually save me. Bhakti is a great process, but somehow it's not working on me. So these are the kind of understandings we develop. However, Krishna always cares for us. He has different ways of communicating. And Bhakti, the process is perfect. It has worked in the past. It continues to work in our own life also. We have come from where we were in a matter of few years. We have come this far. And there is nothing in this world which can actually make us so fallen that our consciousness cannot be lifted up. So that faith that Bhakti process will work, can work. And my duty is to continue to take shelter of Krishna. And Krishna will, the rest is in up to Krishna. So that faith is the hallmark of a devotee's consciousness. So thank you. If there are any comments, questions, any thoughts?
Yes,
Yes,
thank you so much for a wonderful class. That's such brilliant way you elaborated on the glory or practicality of bhakti. It's amazing presentation. Thank you so much.
Anything else you want to add?
Thank you, Prabhu. Like, I was thinking like when you said like the fiery demand, when Vishnu Chakra like without any trace it burned, right? So I think like even our ignorance also burned like that without any trace. So I was thinking.
True.
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you for giving class, Prabhu. I'm really appreciating this point of trying to codify the feeling of Krishna, not only in the good times, but in the challenging times. So I'm wondering if you could speak more on that too, how we can apply that, how can we think of that, how we can follow in the footsteps of personalized like Ambarish Maharaj. Well, if a fire demon is attacking me, I don't think I'll be able to execute the same consciousness, but how we can kind of, I don't know, practice it.
Yeah. There is no alternative for one's faith in one's spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. When everything is good, we have to work hard to develop that faith. So if we sweat in peace, we won't bleed in war because difficulties will always come in life. So whatever good times we have, it's not for our enjoyment in bhakti either. So it is the more we actually develop the attitude of a servant and really develop an attachment to one's spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada and the practices of bhakti and have good friends, good mentors. There is no other way. There should be someone who can confidently think and come and chastise us. It's very rare. Once we start practicing for a while, everybody around us understands. Like, when you have a bad odor, bad smell, bad mouth, everyone around you understands except yourself. It's very close. The nose is very close. Everyone understands, okay, you have a bad mouth, but we don't understand. So that's how the consciousness is when we have something lacking. We may not be able to see, everybody around us may be able to. For sure, those who have spent some time will be able to see. But a lot of time they don't have the confidence whether we will receive it properly. So then everybody thinks, okay, like I do understand, like, okay, this thing, but I don't know how to say or like how it will be received. So everyone does not, nobody actually says. So it is important that we have someone who can, uh, who can consider ourselves their property and have, what do you call, like, have that kind of a relationship where they can come and say, oh, in a nice way. It not need not be always like a thunderbolt striking, but however it works. So having good mentors, well-wishers, friends. So it takes a community to become a devotee. We are not going to become a devotee on our own by our individual ability. It takes a village to raise a child. So similarly in bhakti also, it takes a community for us to achieve perfection. So, but somehow it's not always very easy to have very quality relationships. And yeah, and these are my thoughts. There can be anything else you would like to add, Prabhuji? Yes. Hare Krishna.
So my question is that you mentioned about some of the great personalities like Kunti Maharani, Amrish, when they came into a difficult situation, they, Krishna kind of took a lot of things away from them, put them through a great struggle. And Amrish was like unaffected, he's my Lord really wanted. But also, I've seen Srila Prabhupada was speaking about the difficulty that he went through in his life. And some difficult times where Krishna really did take everything away from him. Said when, and one devotee heard him speaking about this in the class, and he said, "Well, Srila Prabhupada, you're a pure devotee, so it's not the same for you as when Krishna takes everything away from us." And he says, you can't think this way. When Krishna takes everything away, you become morose. Yeah, when Krishna takes everything away, you become morose. So how can we understand that? Because actually speaking, when we go through very difficult struggles or difficult experiences, then the pure devotee might not understand exactly what is Krishna's plan. So maybe you could speak on that, how they should feel.
Yeah, thank you. There was this another talk, like morning walk that Srila Prabhupada was having, and he explained that how he used to go to the Brooklyn office of the Scindia Steamship Company, the Jaladuta, by which he came back. So it was a few months, it was almost a year that he didn't experience any success. So he would feel very discouraged, like, okay, nothing is happening. So he would go back, he would take a train, like he would go from Manhattan to Upper West to Brooklyn and check when is the next ship, when the ship is next going back to India. So he would do it very often. But and then the guy who's in the office became like once frustrated and said, "You often come and inquire, but you never go. Like you never go. It's been like so many months. You just often come here, but you never go." He says, "No." And then he was laughing and telling his disciples, "Actually, I would become so like kind of discouraged that nothing is happening. But I would go and ask them when is the ship going back, and they would say, okay, it's going in a week." He would then I would think, okay, let me try another 2 months. Let me try another 2 months. And he said, okay, even if I die, I'll die in the mission of my spiritual master. So he said it was very natural to feel discouraged, but there was no question of being completely disappointed or anything. So it was very human for him to experience that being alone in a foreign country, old, very cold weather, and not much reciprocation from the people. So he did say that, okay, he went so many times to check when is the ship going back, but there was no question of feeling completely disappointed. He would, okay, Krishna will have a plan, let me push through. So it's very human on a human level. When there is discomfort, there can be a momentary thought, but the faith is strong enough that they're not going to be fully disappointed with the whole situation. Does it make sense? On a human level, there can be physical pain, but Srila Prabhupada also said, like, okay, like it's a way of teaching. Like I have taught you so many times, like how you're not this body. Now I have to live and show you, like how I'm like, despite the physical pain and the disease and the old age, he continued and showed to set an example also. So he wasn't thinking, okay, why as a devotee that has done exceptional service in the history of the universe, that he has to go through something like that. So the attitude is also is different. Yeah, as normal living beings, we can be discouraged. It's very common, but we don't need to get so disappointed that we have to like, yeah, there is no need of getting disappointed. And again, the whole idea of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is that we have to rise above the bodily consciousness. So that is also a devotee's duty, to situate oneself on the level of the soul continuously. Everything we think, uh, have to go on that level of soul consciousness and see, okay, what does it matter actually? Because here also we saw that Srila Prabhupada is writing. He knew that he was going to be defeated, but he was not at all affected because he understands, I have an eternal gain to make when I leave this body. So he's not attached to that bodily situation. So we have our own attachments to how we want to be seen, how we want to be known in the world, and how we want to live a certain kind of yeah, we have a lot of expectations and uh, vision for our life, how it should be. We want to be that great and amazing personalities in this world. But sometimes when it is frustrated, then we feel like so morose. Oh, I'm not that great. So that relaxing, that releasing that grip, strong grip of the false ego is also very important gradually, because that is the main cause of disappointment, false ego. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada.
Chant
Namo Vishnupadaya Vishnapadaya
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Divine grace. May she block the door of my contract key.
Yeah.
Compounded current and qualified keys. Out of power of the young charge of the Shah Srimad. Five of the dominant there of the Srimad.
Yeah.
You know how
Yeah.
Shri Vedanta Saraswati Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakumar and Giri Govardhan Ki.
Yeah.
Shri Radha Ki.
Yeah.
Arhata Ki. Gandamai Bhakti Devi Ki.
Yeah.
Anapsakoti Rice Rinda Ki.
Yeah.
Arhata Ki.
Yeah.
Salamekta Bhakti Ki. Nita Govardhan. Always simple. Always simple.
Yes.
Always Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga, always Shri Gauranga. The lotus feet of my spiritual master, and willingly like to attain pure devotional service. I bow down to the naked feet of great remembrance. By this grace, one can cross the ocean with zero suffering, sane and worthy of Krishna. Not only with have my consciousness purified by the rinse in the name of the lotus feet. Attachment to his lotus feet is perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him it's got after the humans, by him because Lord. The Veda scripture, the single spirit. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the soul. O master, the vision of our swans, give us the opinion around the sea. Your face cut off the free world. We take shelter of it. The divine grace we see Bhagavatam for our party. Yes.